Did you see they made gas stove a culture war issue? It's a shame that the asbestos bans all happened before the modern era culture war bullshit. We could have had some of the funniest posts of all time. Don't tread on Florida and don't mess with gas stoves. So what's up with that? I'm not even familiar with this iteration of the culture war, but it's like, I guess they're bored. Is that what's going on? Oh, U.S. Safety Agency considers ban on gas stoves amid health fears. They want to remove gas-powered stoves and leaving only electrically powered ones, to be honest, like in almost all of Europe by this point, and they're making it a culture war. I'm not going to lie. If you've ever used an electric stove over a gas stove, you know that like the electric stove kind of sucks. But like, you know, is it worth the carbon monoxide poisoning? To be fair, carbon monoxide poisoning is most likely responsible for, I would say, 45, I'm giving a conservative estimate, 45% of the entirety of the Republican base of support. So, like, it's understandable that they would not want to let go of carbon monoxide poisoning because, like, if it wasn't for that, it's not CO, it's NO2. Okay, well, my point is whatever the gas stove is fucking releasing is the reason why people basically see ghosts and stuff. It's responsible for, like, whenever you hear about ghost stories or people hallucinating, whenever you hear about people like seeing ghosts or whatever, half the time it's like, it's basically because, you know, there's a little bit of carbon monoxide poisoning happening, right? And that's, I would say that that's like mostly also half of the Republican Party's base of support. So I get it. I get why they just don't want that to go away. I understand it. Like, think about it. It's like when Republicans also want to make sure that, you know, no one goes to college. Why? Because when you go to fucking college, like the likelihood that you will vote Democrat increases dramatically. They hate education. They hate education because education is like an immediate fast track way of stopping the base of support for the Republican Party from growing. And it's the same for carbon monoxide poisoning. Did you see the map of who uses gas? It's the opposite of the red-blue divide. Wait, what the fuck? So it's not like they're even using it. Just wanted to point this out there. Gas stoves are a Northeast Carolina, Eastern Urban Midwest thing. This is also where major cities used gas for lighting in the early 20th century. The infra started at that point, almost opposite of the map of the red-blue political divide. Most of the red states don't have gas infrastructure, so they only have electric options. Pussies. Most people are used to gas. I don't think so. I think it depends on where you're at, my friend. This literally shows that the share of U.S. households that have an electric stove is 68% versus gas, 38%. So you are literally looking at a fact and going, nah, that doesn't feel right, which I understand. Doesn't feel right for me either because I have a gas stove. I have a gas stove in my house here. I hate it. It fucking sucks. Even though it's a melee appliance because like when you fucking buy a house that's like over a certain price point, they automatically come with that kind of appliances. But it doesn't work sometimes. It breaks. I don't like it. Cat Turd is using gas stoves to own the libs. Dear liberals, I turned on all of my gas stove eyes today and let them burn for no reason. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it but cry. Dude, he's so epic. He's so epic. Politics is so weird because Republicans always have to reflexively oppose any Democratic idea, ignoring the merit. Also, why don't you replace your gas stove? I don't know. I have literally never thought about it. Dude, I think most people are like me. They just don't know and don't care and have never thought about it. And if you think about it and you're like, oh, dude, I'll never do this, you're a fucking loser. I have never in my entire life, especially as a renter, I never even thought about it. And now as like a first-time homeowner, again, still have never thought about it. Like, why the fuck would I know or care about it? That's part of the reason why the government should deal with that. They have people who are thinking on it, okay? That's the whole point. Americans are so hyper individualistic and so fucking stupid that, like, they literally cannot comprehend a world where, like, the regulatory mechanisms are there for a fucking reason. If the government was like, no more gas stoves, I'd be like, okay, I guess we'll replace it. Hopefully they'll help others who are not wealthy enough to be able to replace it and like give them some credits or some shit. But like for someone like myself, I could replace it myself. I wouldn't even think about it. And then going forward, most of those other, if I were to go back to renting, for example, it would just be an electric stove and it wouldn't change my life in any meaningful capacity. That's the whole point. The government is supposed to take that burden off your shoulders of like constantly fucking having to worry about all these things personally. Do you guys understand? That is the entire purpose of systemic change. So you don't have to think about it all the time. Slavoj Žižek talks about this as a counter to like, some anarchist formations, like anarcho-communist formations. It's like, you don't want to have a democratic design at every facet of your fucking life. You don't want like coalitions to figure out whether or not like each individual area is supposed to have a gas stove or an electric stove. I don't want to make that decision. I want smart people that I trust to make that decision for me because I have a fuckload of other shit to worry about. And like all these dumb motherfuckers who are like, nah, brother, like you got to make it on your own. And this is on the left or the liberal side. It is the individual choices that are the morally righteous ones that you must make to save the environment. And on the right, it's like, no, I'm going to do the individually worst choice possible because fuck the environment. These two operate at the same fucking like mental plane, okay? It's still capitalist hyper-individualism, okay? It's capitalist hyper-individualism. That is the main reason for why people are like, no, we got to take matters into our own hands on both sides. Sure, one is like marginally better because it's like it's slanted towards progress. The other one is trying to be regressive, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It's so stupid. I don't want to deal with that, man. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't want to deal with it. I am not a scientist. Let the fucking scientists handle it and then tell me what to do and I'll do it. And if you are the type of dude who's like, nah, fuck that, brother, this is a really important part of my life, you're a fucking weirdo loser freak, okay? Same goes for if you're the type of dude who's like, why won't you make the personal choice immediately to change it out right now? Now that you found out, you better be fucking shifting over. It's like, no, bitch. I'm probably not going to do it until I have to. I'm lazy. Biden's IRA has, when the Inflation Reduction Act could mean for your next appliance purchase, you might be eligible for a rebate when you buy an electric range, cooktop, or wall oven. Makes sense. I mean, this is like, I didn't even know that this existed in the IRA, but I told you that hopefully there's some level of like help that the government will provide in this sort of thing. Because of course they would. Why wouldn't they? That's how the government works. They could also regulate natural gas utilities and require them to have way lower allowable levels of ozone and carbon monoxide. Seems like that makes more sense than shutting down all use of them. I mean, I personally just don't care. I don't care. I literally don't care. I want the government to care, and I want the government to do the right thing. That's what I want. And I think that expectation is so normal. That is what the expectation should be. All of you motherfuckers should expect your government to do that. Ron DeSantis tweeted, "Don't tread on Florida and don't mess with gas stoves." Obviously, every part of the conversation is going to become a culture war issue. Turns out we found out that Senator Joe Manchin, of course, chimed in. Everyone's favorite conservative Democrat. This is a recipe for disaster. The federal government has no business telling American families how to cook their dinner. I can tell you the last thing that would ever leave my house is the gas stove that we cook on. If this is the greatest concern the Consumer Product Safety Commission has for American consumers, I think we need to reevaluate the commission. So it turns out there's a reason for this. It is creating asthma, okay? It's creating childhood asthma. That is part of the reason why they want to make sure, they change it. Do the gas stove challenge? What the fuck is that? Mad about liberals coming to steal your gas stove? Tell them to shove it. By completing the gas stove challenge, turn all your burners up without lighting them and bask in it. Share yours. This is like probably, you'll probably get banned for this. I'm going to assume. This is like a definite TOS violation. Yeah, just leave it on though if you want. Have fun with it. Like I already said, most of the reason why conservatives, I believe, are turning this into a culture war issue is because, well, one, they have to turn something into a culture war issue. Commodity consumption is the only way to do culture war nowadays. Gay M&Ms, female M&Ms, whatever the fuck. And now gas stoves, regardless of who actually is using them or not. Here is a breakdown of the income. Gas stoves by income. Yes, I have a micro data set now. It only is going to get worse for the gas cucks from here. Also, not legit at all, or over 10% of the poorest 10% can't cook. Makes you wonder about the food stamp prohibition on buying prepared food. Holy shit. None. It's mostly just, so it's rich people that are using gas stoves. That's it. But like, not rich in the, I wonder if, so I guess maybe Republicans are on board with it then, because Republicans do lean rich. They are the party of the wealthy, but it's mostly just like I think it's mostly upper middle class. Well, I don't know if it's upper middle class suburbanite Republicans, but I think it's a lot of rich liberals too, most likely. It seems like if you look at the areas, it seems like it's mostly upper middle class to rich liberals.
One thing to know about the natural gas industry is that it's got a long and proud tradition of absolutely batshit insane advertisements.
When I discovered electricity, I never meant for people to heat their homes with it.
Dude, that's fire. God, I love marketing so much. It's so stupid. It is so fucking dumb. But then you have this as a byproduct of that. You know what I mean? This paired up with like both parties' inabilities to like make material changes in people's lives, create this environment where you now have a culture war over the issue of gas stoves versus electric ones. But like they built this, they did it for years and years, and they again, your consumption and your lifestyle choices are the only cultural signifiers that you have. So there's nothing else for you. So now you're a gas stove guy, okay? I'm a gas stove guy all the way, baby, through and through.
A gas stove might look pretty clean, but this is a literal open flame in your kitchen. Gas stoves can lead to carbon monoxide levels 3 to 6 times higher than electric ranges. Gas stoves also produce double the harmful particulate matter, and the elevated nitrogen dioxide levels associated with gas stoves can affect the mental and respiratory development of children.
Well, you're making your children not to be pussy asses, okay? That's what it is. You got to make sure that their lungs are stronger by consuming all that NO2, baby. That's right. Got to expose them when they're young, make them strong. All these liptard children are not going to be getting that same exposure, brother. How the gas versus electric stove debate became the latest culture war with AOC and Ted Cruz chiming in. Gas stoves for me, but not for thee. Come and take it, Representative Ronnie Jackson wrote, saying he'd never give up his gas stove. At the first full week of the 111th Congress, there is now just heated debate on the matter. Richard Trumka Jr., Commissioner for the Consumer Product Safety Commission, told Bloomberg on Monday that a gas stove ban was being considered amid health fears, that the gas stove top was getting the same sort of protective treatment that is usually reserved for things like firearms or meat consumption. This is a recipe for disaster. The federal government has no business telling American families how to cook their dinner, said Joe Manchin, who's a fucking idiot. The CPSC followed up with Alex Hohn-Sarek, the chair of the commission, saying that an all-out ban was not actually on the table, but that the agency was looking for ways to reduce health risks associated with gas burners. Proponents of the gas stove argue its superior cooking appliance compared to electric counterparts, offering more temperature control and different cooking options. Critics of the gas stove say that actually some electric burners allow for more precise cooking temperatures and can be easier to clean, which is true. As we saw with induction burners, they are actually infinitely superior, which I did not even know that it existed. Here is Tucker Carlson ripping into the Biden administration for wanting to ban gas stoves. A lot of politicians mistake themselves for God. Safety? We've had these stoves for under 100 years. It's totally fine to give fentanyl to addicts, but a gas stove is a threat to your life? When I see this sort of thing, at first I laugh, okay? At first I laugh, but then I get angry, like unimaginably angry at how quick these motherfuckers can turn anything and everything into a culture war issue that all of these dumb motherfuckers are going to unironically channel, repeat, and fight to the death over. Guns, gas stoves. Love that. That's it. This is the new thing. I hate this country. And I specifically, and more importantly, hate the Democratic Party. Why do I hate the Democratic Party? This is the Republicans doing this, as a matter of fact. Because they don't do enough. So then the culture and the conversation is dominated by these reactionary pieces of shit. And they immediately buckle under pressure and go, wait a minute. No, actually, as a matter of fact, we are so sorry. We're not trying to take away your gas stoves. I'm so sorry. Please burn more gas. I love gas. Look at me. I'm turning on the gas stove myself. And it's like, you already conceded. You have a good point. You have a good perspective. Didn't even know it was a thing until like earlier. Now I know and understand why it exists to begin with. It's not even an all-out ban. Just fucking talk about why it's bad.
You may have noticed mistake themselves for God and decide they can control the intimate details of your life.
Like, this is literally what the government's for, you fucking idiot. God damn it. This is what the government's for. Oh, man. What are they, God? They want to put a seatbelt in a car? What are you, God? It's like, no, man, because you're too stupid, okay? You're too dumb. You're too stupid. You're too dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb. Americans across the board are dumb. Human beings across the board are dumb.
Including what kind of stove you use to cook your dinner. And politicians have been telling us for a long time, because of climate, you're not allowed to have a gas stove. But that doesn't make sense to people because...
And now we know better. It's not even the fucking gas stoves that are actually unironically the problem. It's all the other gas appliances that are utilized inside of the home when, your introduction is with the gas stove. The gas stove is the part of the conversation that you care about because you're like, oh, well, there's a lot of propaganda around it. Earlier, older electric stoves were not that good, okay? It's the truth. They were not that good. So now you just do not have, you have an association with like gas being better, as far as like cooking goes. It's faster, it's better. And now that's the reason why people are fucking gonna turn around, and even if they have an electric stove in their house, gonna turn around and advocate for gas stoves.
If they really cared about carbon emissions, they probably wouldn't be flying in private planes or blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, which they did. So now there's a new tax.
True.
To get rid of gas stoves. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is deciding on whether to ban gas stoves totally because of safety. We've had these stoves for over 100 years. It's totally fine to give fentanyl to addicts, but a gas stove is a threat to your life?
Right. No, like literally, it is good to give fentanyl to addicts, you fucking dingus, and it's not even fentanyl. Yes, it is good to create a safe environment for addicts. Yes. It is like fundamentally an important step in recovery. And it's methadone that he's talking about, which is such a piece of shit. But like even allowing people a safe place to be able to fucking needle themselves with clean needles, okay, is literally an important step towards recovery. This is the truth, okay? I don't care if it doesn't sound normal to you. It's just the fucking truth. It is crazy to me that he can just flip it and say, oh, wow, we want to ban gas stoves now? What do you want to be God, but you want to give fentanyl to addicts? Like, harm reduction is a fundamental way, like a very important first step towards recovery, okay? And I hate that, like, so many people are so stupid that they don't recognize it. But here we are on the gas stove saga. I've had my daily dose of fucking losing my mind, all right? Let's move on from this before I actually fucking blow a gasket. Gasket? What's the term for that? I was trying to make a gas analogy, and I couldn't really find one that was all that good. Blow a gasket. Okay.